All right, my friends, welcome. I'm going to speed up the timer here a little bit because we are about 6 minutes away from beginning. I hope you had a great day and your trading was awesome. I am setting up a few things for us here and some links. And if you want to get your charts ready or your screens ready, you just go ahead and do that, and I will be with you in just a moment. You can let me know that you can hear me all right inside the chat. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I've got a link that is posted inside the chat, and that will start us off. So, welcome, friends. We'll get started in about 5 minutes. We're going to look at the charts and take a look at some of the stocks that might move tomorrow. And we will also take a look at a few stocks that moved after hours and how you could have traded those. And there was one in particular that worked well, and a whole bunch that moved all day today. So if you're wondering what stock might be the number one stock for tomorrow and which one I would tell you to avoid, then you are definitely in the right place. Okay, Eric's here. Great. Welcome, Eric. Happy to be with you this evening. Okay, we'll get started in just a few minutes. The countdown timer is on, and I'll be back in a few minutes to welcome all of you that are just getting here. All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome. We're going to get started in one more minute. Eric says the Tim B webinar was cool today. Oh, cool. What was the webinar today? Eric, give me more details. Would love to hear more about that. Thanks for joining me this evening. For all those of you that are getting here, wow, there's a whole bunch of you here right on time, and that's marvelous news. I really appreciate you being here on time. And my name is Rob, and we'll get started in just a moment. Got a lot of ground to cover here and a bunch of stuff that I want to get through, and we're going to talk about a trading strategy. We are going to talk about two stocks that will move tomorrow, and maybe one stock that in particular has some gigantic potential. We've been talking about it recently, so for those of you that have been here recently, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to stop the timer here so we wouldn't have any loud buzzers going off or anything like that. So thanks, my friends, for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Thursday, June 8th. It's just after 7 p.m. Central U.S. time. My name is Rob Booker, and I will be your host this evening. And we're going to meet for about 30, 35 minutes tonight. We're not going to run over. We're going to use our time efficiently, and we're going to cover a lot of ground. So if you've got a notebook and a pen, a way to take notes, that's great. I also strongly encourage you to be prepared to use the screenshot or the snippet tool on your computer so you can grab some charts and some images as we go. And I am going to teach you a strategy, and we're going to have a great time as we move along here. So thank you for joining me. I would love to know if the sound is working all right and if you are able to see the screen. That's really important because it makes no difference if I'm just sitting here talking to myself. So Eric, I think you could hear me all right, but I just wanted to make sure that Alan and Eric and everyone else that's just getting here now that you can hear me all right. Let me know more about how your trading went today. Did you trade at all? Did you buy some stocks? Did you short some stocks? And would love to know more about that. So Tim says it's loud and clear. Hey, Tim in West Virginia. That's awesome. Nice to see you here, Tim. What part of West Virginia? That's cool. That's super awesome. I was a mountaineer for 10 years, not in West Virginia University, just like literally living in West Virginia. So that's pretty awesome. I lived in Wheeling for 10 years, Tim. Almost 10 years. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, Ernie says we're loud and clear. That's great. And Giovanni is here. That's awesome. Giovanni, welcome. I'm glad that you're here also. Even the days feel odd. Mindset has changed so much. Okay. Thumbs up on sound and video. Bob, great to have you here, my friend. Thanks, everybody. Okay, Putnam County. All right. Winfield. Well, hey, listen, it's great to have you here, and it's great to spend some time together with you. For those of you just getting here now, my name is Rob Booker, and we are going to start this presentation. And we're going to kick things off by looking at the charts because I think that's a great way to reward those of you who got here on time. So thanks for joining me. SIEN jumped today. This is stock number one that I want you to look at for tomorrow. So SIEN, I want you to focus on this one. I want you to pay attention. There are some things going on this chart that I think you need to know about. So after hours, SIEN jumped. And it doesn't really matter why. And that's going to sound weird at first, but it really isn't. All that matters is that it did. We don't care if it jumped because of good news or bad news or earnings or not earnings or whatever it is. What we want to focus on is that it moved, and it moved strong, and it kept its highs. So the market is now permanent. It's not permanent close, but today's market is over. The electronic market is closed. It is 8 p.m. Eastern time, so there's no more trading until tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. Eastern time. So the target on SIEN is $4.52. You can see here to the left on my computer, that is a purple horizontal line, and that is a monthly pivot point. Now, some of you are familiar with a pivot point, and some of you are not. And for those of you unfamiliar with pivot points, these are levels that attract price. It's kind of like the tractor beam in Star Wars. So price is attracted to these levels. As you can see on the chart, every single monthly pivot, these purple lines, and I'll explain what a pivot is in full, every single one of these was touched by price in the month that it was created. All of them. You could see price moving through at or on those levels. But look what's missing from this monthly pivot right here that I kind of boxed in red. That's the November 2022 monthly pivot point, and it was never touched by price. Pivots have a tendency to be touched by price, meaning stocks generally will move in the direction of a pivot that has not yet been hit. Now, this is news for some of you, and it's not news for others. Some of you are hearing this for the first time, and others, this is old news. But for those of you for whom this is new, this is a really big deal. While a lot of people are focused on news, and a lot of other people are focused on watching TV or following social media or whatever else for their stocks, you can also just get an idea of where a stock is headed to by looking at a slightly longer term chart and looking for pivot points. A pivot point is, and if you can look, you can save this for later and look it up. A pivot point is last month's, for monthly pivots, high plus last month's low plus last month's closing price added together and then divided by 3. So let's just move that. And I'm going to draw a division symbol right here. Okay, there we go. So this November 2022 pivot point is the October high plus the October low plus the October closing price added together and then divided by 3, and that comes out to be $4.52. That's really important because if SIEN continues to rise, there is a really, really, really good chance that what it's going to do is rise and move to $4.52. That's that pivot point level. This is really important because you could look at 1,000 stocks. You could spend all day looking at a ton of different stocks, or you could focus on 1 or 2 that have the most amount of potential. And SIEN has the most potential. Most traders waste their time looking at all kinds of different stocks or looking at their favorite stock or looking at Tesla all day long or looking at Apple or trying to find an options trade on a particular stock. Whereas we can focus on one stock, set our levels on that stock, and then get ready to trade it. And tonight, thanks for being here on time, everybody. I'm just looking at the level. Like the level is $3.51. And if price on SIEN tomorrow morning breaks above $3.51, it is probably going to easily move to $4.52. That's trade idea number 1. And that's a trade idea for those of you that got here on time. I don't trade anything ultra super complicated. And I'm not scanning all over the place or staying up late at night trying to find stocks or trying to research whatever or reading somebody's research report or whatever else. I'm simply scanning for the stocks that moved the most, identifying which ones those were, setting levels on those stocks, and finding profit targets for the trade. And it's kind of a, how would I phrase it? It's a simpler way of looking at the market. Now, if you want to look at another one, we could definitely look. We could definitely look at another one. All right, let's take a look at AI. AI is big. Artificial intelligence. It's giant news right now. It's basically the most important market trend right now. AI is perhaps, besides NVIDIA, which is not purely AI, the actual symbol AI, is kind of the big mover in this area. And it tried to break out today, and it didn't quite get there. Every single time a stock breaks out, it's going to try several times, kind of fail, and then try again. And so we're going to draw a line across the highs of the stock today that it made, $37.60. That is a critical level that you're going to want to watch. You're going to want to watch the price to see tomorrow if AI can break above $37.61. Ryan says, what indicators do you have on? Welcome, Ryan. I think you may have been here. You may have arrived a little bit late, and I'm glad that you're here. It's great to have you with us. So, Ryan, what we concentrated on at the beginning of the presentation was a 4-hour chart and monthly pivots. And we talked a little bit about how SIEN has the potential to move above the high of the after hours session, break out, and move to $4.52 up to the monthly pivot. The only indicators necessary to plan that trade are a horizontal line tool drawn across the highest high that price went in the afternoon after hours session. I'll talk more about that in a moment. And then we needed the monthly pivots. So we put the monthly pivots on the chart for SIEN. And we found that it has a missed monthly pivot, or a monthly pivot that was not touched by price in November of 2022. That's a profit target. If tomorrow morning SIEN can rise up to and above the highest high that it went today, $3.51, it will probably go all the way to $4.52, which is basically like a 25% move, which is awesome. It's fantastic. It's you don't have to have a large account. You don't have to have any special permissions from your broker. And you certainly don't have to become some sort of expert in technical analysis or whatever. You just have to be able to draw those lines on your chart. Now, next I'm going to look at another stock, AHI. AHI broke out and ran after hours today. Now, how many here are aware that after the stock market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern time, you can still trade on your regular brokerage platform? Schwab, E-Trade, Fidelity, Thinkorswim, Robinhood, Webull. You can still trade after hours. So why do I use those monthly pivots? Well, here's the answer. AHI was jumping after hours, and we got alerts that it was moving. So for those of you that have been to one of these presentations before, I built some scanning tools that show us which stocks are moving the most after hours. And AHI popped up on that scan. So it's not difficult to find these stocks. That's not the issue. Actually, it's so easy, just about anybody could really do it. I'm not saying trading is easy, and I'm not saying that everybody's going to be a millionaire. That's not what I'm saying. Now, when AHI was jumping up, guess where it was going to? The October 2022 pivot point. How did I know that? Because it had not been touched by price in the month that it was created. And look where price went when it jumped. It exactly went to that level and stopped. If you've ever struggled to find and get profit targets, I want you to stop struggling. I want you to start doing things the simpler way. All we do as a team is we watch for breakouts beyond the highs, and we trade those stocks to monthly pivots if we want. TradeStation after hours trading. TradeStation starts trading at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. So it looks like TradeStation may not offer. Oh, yeah. What hours can you trade on TradeStation? 4 a.m. Eastern and a post-market trading session. Yeah. Any broker that's any good allows you to trade after hours. That would absolutely shock me if TradeStation didn't allow you. That would be the wildest thing that I've ever heard. Yeah, you can trade. You can trade after hours. So good news. Great news, in fact. Dennis, you just learned something. Yeah, you absolutely 100% can trade after hours and pre-market on TradeStation. That's what I'm here to do, Dennis. I'm here to teach you some stuff that you may not have known before. So I'm glad that you're here. I have an account and tried. It didn't do good. Dennis. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath here. Dennis. If you get the right training and you have the right strategy, you're going to do fine. Past experiences in trading, if you're here in the webinar, your past experiences in trading may not have gone the way that you hoped and may not have worked out in the way that you thought they would. That's why I'm here today. I'm going to teach you some stuff that most people don't think about. Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. So there's an issue in the world of trading, and that issue is that most people are unfortunately unsuccessful. So the question is why? Like, why are traders unsuccessful? Well, most traders do this. They either look at their favorite stock, like, I really want to get a trade on Tesla. And what do you think about Tesla? And I hear this all the time. I hear this every single day. Like, what do you think about this stock in particular? Well, I don't think anything about it. And I'll tell you why. And I'll explain that in just a few minutes. I don't think anything about most stocks. I don't even know what the Dow Jones Industrial Average or the S&P 500 did today. And I don't actually care, and it doesn't actually matter. And the sooner we all learn to focus on what does matter and ignore what doesn't matter, we just do better. So Dennis, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that all of you are here. Welcome. So most traders look at a large number, infinite number of stocks, and they try to guess which one is going to move. And they're inevitably disappointed when they pick the wrong stock or the right one at the wrong time. Have you ever picked a trade and it went in against you, you closed it, and then it went right exactly where you thought it was going to go in the first place? Or have you ever opened up your charts, started trading, and found out later in the day that some other stock that you didn't even hear about was the one that moved? Or even worse, did you pick between two stocks that you knew might move and you picked exactly the wrong one? So Joseph says, hi, I'm not getting much info from the webinar, just a lot of personal info from the speaker. Please, more actual stock market info about making trades. Penny stocks and actual trades recommends. So let's just focus on this comment just for a minute. So let's focus on that. Let's just bring that into view. I'm not sure this is an accurate comment. I think we are definitely talking about a trading strategy, and we're definitely talking about focusing on the right things. And I don't actually think that I've given any personal info. By the way, my name is Rob Booker, and I'm here in Houston, Texas. And Joseph, so sorry that the webinar didn't work out for you. We wish you all the best. Sorry that I wasn't able to help you out. So for everybody here, let's keep going. So most traders are either they got a pet stock or a stock they really love and they can't stop focusing on, or they just look at a large number of stocks. They get some from social media, some from television, and some from all over the place, and they can't seem to pick the right one. Instead, I think there's an easier way to do this. So if you want, we can do this the easier way. So let's do it. So I built some scanning tools, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And I use those scanning tools to instead focus on one stock or a very small number of stocks. So here's what I do. We look at a small number of stocks that already moved and proved that they're strong, and then we trade the second move up. Okay, here we go. Watch this. Now we're going to move into the charts. So remember that Joseph isn't here anymore. Just kidding. I'm glad he's gone. Personal. I actually did less personal information than ever. Okay, we're going to talk about an actual strategy and how to use it. All right, so I built a scanning tool. So I'm going to load my scanning tool. Here we go. So here's what my scanning tool kind of looks like. My scanning tool shows stocks that are moving during regular market hours and after hours. I also use the scanning tool on Webull that shows me after hours movers, AHISIEN. So I'm going to grab this image and I'm going to make it larger so you can see all the stocks that moved after hours, and you can see them much more clearly. Because the first thing that you need to be able to do as a trader is you need to be able to identify the biggest movers. Here we go. So this is a screenshot of the after hours session. Joseph, it wasn't you, it was a different Joseph. All right. AHI, SIEN, CFRX, and SONA. Now, we didn't need to do anything special. We didn't need to do anything crazy in order to find those stocks. We simply needed to open up a freely available scanning tool. You can find it on Webull Top Gainers. You can find it on the Stocks to Trade Top Gainers. I built a scanning tool that I use that I call the short scan, or the after hours and regular hours scan right here. But the market is closed right now, so the scan is limited and doesn't show very much. Okay, so it's easy to it's easy. Finding the stock to focus on is not difficult, and it's different every single day. Every single day you come to this webinar, and Eric will attest to that. Every single day we do this webinar, and I show a different one. I'm like, we're going to do this again tomorrow. Every single time. Okay. So SIEN popped up on our scanner after hours. And here's what it did. It jumped higher and it popped up on the scan. Now we necessarily, like, we miss the first move. We don't trade it because we miss that first move. That first move is what happens that makes the stock show up on a scan. So that first move, we can't trade it. And this is what gets people into trouble. People want to find, what's the stock that's going to move? Well, we don't need to know the stock that's going to move. We let our scanning tools tell us that this stock is the one that moved, SIEN. And then what we do after the move happens and after it shows up on the scan, we draw a horizontal line across the highest high that it went. So it jumped up, printed a red candle, that means it goes down, and then we drew a line across those tops. And we traded the breakout from beyond that line. And then we can hold that trade all the way until it prints a red candle. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's everything. I just taught you I taught you my entire breakout strategy right there. Dennis says, I finally understand first and second moves. I hope you're having a great time, everybody. I hope this is really important information, because most people are doing this all wrong. Most people are trying to find a stock that is going to move. Most people are trying to predict which stocks will move. The loser's game. Nobody knows which stocks are going to move. Don't try to predict which stocks are going to move. Wait for stocks to move and show up on a scan. And then draw a level across the top and trade that darn thing. You don't have to. Now, you might ask, well, gosh, what if I get tricked into a trade then? Well, let's look at AHI. It was also on the scan tonight. It jumped up, it printed a red candle, and we drew a line across the top, and it never broke out above that line, never created a trade. It never produced a trade. It didn't happen. There's no trade there. Wildly awesome. Now I'm going to show you something else. CFRX. It jumped up, it produced a red candle, and jumped up again. It jumped up one more time. Why didn't we buy it? Well, first of all, if we did buy it, that would have been fine. We would have bought it right here and taken a very, very small loss right here. So it's fine. Like, not every single trade is going to be a winner. I'm not going to say, oh, if you trade with me, every trade you take is going to be a winner. But you see what we're doing here is we're forcing the stocks that are going to move to show themselves. Now I'm going to help out my friend, Mark. Mark, are you still here? Mark V at Gmail. I can see your email address in here, Mark. Mark says he traded Carvana this morning. Mark, I'm going to teach you how to stay in that trade a little bit longer. Are you ready? Here we go. So Carvana Here we go, pre-market session. Now we're going to talk about the pre-market session. Carvana in the pre-market session jumped up and created a high of the pre-market session. That high of the pre-market session was $20.52. Excellent. Fantastic. So perfect. Wonderful. Marvelous. We know that there's a buy trade above that level. That's the buy trade. So then I use my handy profit target creating tool and I draw a fib retracement from the high of the pre-market session to the low that it made. And if it breaks out, we know what our profit targets are going to be. We knew exactly what our profit targets were going to be. 21.29, 22.30, 23.40 hit exactly. And then maybe we got out at that level. We drew a line across the tops here, Mark, and you trade the next breakout to the next levels. And then it finally just stops. It finally stops around $26. It finally, at some point in time, it finally stops and it's the end of the regular trading session and you just kind of let it go. Now, the question is, well, why did Carvana move today? I want you to tell people who ask that question, nobody cares. Nobody cares why it moved today. Nobody cares. This stocks break out and move up on bad news, good news, no news. Nobody cares. Stop asking why it moved. Nobody cares. It moved because there were more buyers who wanted to buy the stock than sellers who wanted to sell the stock. And because there was a greater number of buyers, the price went up. That's it. You can make trading more complicated if you want. You don't have to. BAOS. BAOS. This is a fascinating one. Here we go. This is a very, very fascinating example. So I'm going to remove all of my drawings off the chart. And I'm going to say, for instance, that we got up very early today. Let's say we got up at 5 a.m. Eastern time. Nobody here is going to do that, but let's say you did. At 5 a.m. Eastern time, it made a high of the pre-market session. That high was at $10.31. I'm going to ask you a question, and everyone here can answer. Where's the buy trade? The buy trade is, this is a 5-minute chart. The buy trade is above that pre-market high. Boom, breaks that pre-market high. How did we know to look at BAOS? Showed up a scanner because it started jumping in the pre-market session. How do we know where to take profit? We use my handy dandy profit taking tool. And we know that profit target number 1 is 1096. Profit number 2 is 1180. Profit number 3 is 1273, which is basically hit exactly. Then it makes a pre-market high at 1263. Okay, fair enough. We draw a line from that to those lows. And if it breaks out beyond that, which it did, we bought it. It broke out above that level. We actually did this in the live trading session today. We traded it as a team. Now here's where the rubber hits the road. Would you like to trade this with me in the mornings? We bought it. It halted. And on the webinar, I told every single person, get out on that halt. Now you might be thinking to yourself, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Where's the proof? Okay. Not only did I actually tell everyone that, I'm going to share the recording with you just for being here on time. I recorded the whole hour. I'm going to share it with you for free. So I'm here tonight to build trust with you. And how am I going to build trust if I don't show you exactly what we do? So you have to go fast forward on BAOS. It's down here at the bottom. We planned the trade, talked about the trade, got ready to take the trade. Let's see here. Where is it breaking out? Here we go. Oh, we didn't have to. So it's pretty early on in the session. There we go. So I'll go full screen here. So it's down here in the lower right corner. There's my voice. And then we're talking about the buy trades. We're talking about it. It pops up right here in the lower corner, and I talk about it. It halts, and I spend a few minutes on the webinar telling everybody on the webinar, take profit, set your limit order, grab the profit, get out and go. We did this together, and there were 200 and I don't know, about 300 of us there. So here's the question. Do you want to trade that with me? want to work together and do that every single day? If you want to, we can do that. I have posted a link inside of the chat box in this webinar. And what you can do is you can click that link in the chat box. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to broadcast that to the room. And we're going to see. So if it's halted, how are you supposed to get out? Great question. Awesome. Excellent question. It reopened. So here's what you do when a stock halts and you're in a buy trade. If a stock halts on the way up and you're in a buy trade, you just hit the jackpot. What's going to happen, Q, is it's going to reopen, and in 99% of those circumstances, it's going to reopen and jump to the next profit target level. And so when it's halted, while it is halted, you can set what is called a limit order. And a limit order is a limit order to sell the stock at a certain price. And when the stock reopens, your limit order will be filled. And so there were many, 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 many traders in our group who had the pure sense of enjoyment and happiness that comes from trading that, BAOS. So, cha-ching. That's how we do things. Okay, I'm going to review a couple of things that we talked about at the beginning. So one of the issues is that most traders are looking at a large number of stocks and they're trying to predict which one's going to move. And they say things like, which stock do you think is going to move tomorrow? Well, nobody knows. And the point is, you don't have to stay up late researching stocks. You just wake up in the morning and you see which stocks show up on the top gainers. That's it. I understand that everybody can make it more complicated. This is what disappoints traders. They can't find the right one, or they find two, they pick the wrong one, or they just get married to one stock like Tesla and they just cannot get that out of their mind and they just mess up. Millionaire traders do the following. They look at a small number of stocks that already moved, proved that they are strong, showed up on the scan, draw the lines, trade the breakout. That's how we do it. It's not complicated. I don't want to call trading easy. That would be disgusting. That's wrong. Trading isn't easy. If trading were easy, everyone would be doing it. The thing that makes trading difficult is that people don't follow the rules. The thing that makes trading difficult is that they get in on that breakout and they don't take their profit. That's the problem. Now, if you'd like to work together, you can go to robbiebooker.com/challenge. So I'm the morning trading expert inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge. So if you've been here for a few minutes on the webinar, I would love the chance to just introduce myself to you. And then we'll kind of get a move on here and get you back to doing whatever you want to do this evening. So my name is Rob Booker. I've been trading for 22 years. In 2006, I was featured in the book Millionaire Traders. I'm author of a few books about trading. I was the host of the very first podcast for traders and one of the first YouTube channels in 2006 for traders. I also managed about $8 million as a commodities trading advisor. I didn't trade commodities, but that's what they call it. I was licensed or whatever. I'm no longer licensed. I don't manage money anymore. Just trade my own account. So that's me. That's who I am. I started trading 22 years ago, lost my first account, taught myself how to trade, got a mentor. The mentor helped me really get over the edge. I met Tim Sykes in 2007. I've known Tim for almost 16 years. I sold my podcast and the radio show and all that other stuff. And then Tim Sykes recently asked me if I would help out inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge. Now, for those of you that know Tim Sykes, you know that he is kind of the millionaire maker, right? 30 millionaire trading students from the Tim Sykes Challenge. And Tim and I joined forces a month and a half ago, and I lead the morning group of traders. So Tim Sykes built a curriculum for traders called the Challenge, and those are the lessons and information on the strategies. And then I actually implement those strategies together with the Challenge students in the morning. And so the link is in the chat box, and you can click on that link at robbiebooker.com/challenge or the button that's in the chat box. And if you'd like to get more information about the challenge and trading together with me and Tim Sykes, click the link. There are a limited number of spots there, but I'm not here to be salesy or hypey or anything else. What I find is that if I get salesy and hypey and I make some kind of ridiculous set of promises to you, I can get you to sign up for stuff, but I don't want to do that. I want you to sign up for stuff, but I don't want to do it in a cheesy way that makes me feel dirty afterwards. Like, I'd love the chance to work with you. I think that by teaching you what we do inside of the challenge, you can make an informed decision for yourself about whether you trust me. And if you trust me, then you'll click that link and set up a time for us to talk, and we can discuss maybe working together on a regular basis. Whether you do or do not won't affect whether or not I'm going to be trading tomorrow, which I will. Whether you do or do not decide, I'll still be here to teach you and help you every step of the way as often as I possibly can. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not here to make any money off of you tonight. I know that sounds odd, but I'm doing just fine. And I do this because I love working together with traders. And for those of you that have been here before in the webinar, you know that. You already know that. So Debbie's still waiting to get in your class. Debbie, if you're a Lifetime Challenge member in your challenge portal, you already have access. If you're a Lifetime Challenge member, you just log into your Tim Sykes portal, go to Rob Booker, and you're already in. And if you don't see it in there, then you just have to request. So if you're waiting on lesson 8, everything should be there right now. Everything should be up and running. That's and I'll double check with the team. Okay, so Anatoly, nice to see you here. Can you find profit targets on stocks to trade if the stock is not on Oracle? Sure, there's lots of different ways to find profit targets. You can use like historical levels of support and resistance and so forth. Zachary says, so draw the line and trade as soon as it moves above. Yes, indeed. Okay, I'm going to put the link up here on the screen one more time. And then we're having a family game night in the Booker home. I'm here in Houston, Texas. So I would love the chance to trade with you tomorrow. Click the link in the chat box and set up a time to talk to the team. And Debbie, I'm going to just fire up my chat materials and stuff, and I'm going to talk to the team and make sure that the stuff is working properly for you. And Debbie will get you on the inside. So Debbie, I'm going to grab your email address. Okay, Debbie, I got you. I'll see you on the inside, everybody. Bye for now.